Hello everyone, welcome back to another Doctor Who collection update where we're showing you all the lovely bits of Doctor Who merchandise I picked up from where my last collection update ended in April, so this is May to the end of July. Now we've got a nice selection of merchandise. We've got Big Finish, we've got magazines, we've got graphic novels and books and a Blu-ray. So a nice wide variety of merchandise to show in this collection update. But before we dive into the collection update itself, if you like your Doctor Who merch and you're new around here, then please do consider hitting the subscribe button because it really does help the channel out. And if you enjoy this video, please do leave a like because it helps the channel more than you think. Without further ado, let's dive into the collection update. The first item for this collection update, I'm going to kickstart with the Blu-ray, which is the Celestial Toy Maker Steelbook, the most recent missing episode animation. I did an unboxing on this and a review, so if you want to know my thoughts on the animation in full and the special features, then I will leave a link in the description below to that review. But I'll give you my quick rundown on it, because this animation is quite divisive. You either really love it or you hate it, but I think for the most part it works with the stylistic choices, with the character design being like toys, and I think that this animation really gets the surrealist nature of the Toy Maker's domain, and I think that's what really enhances it. It's a way more of an improvement over the Web of Fear episode 3 animation. I think there's still some little tweaks that can be done in terms of like the expressions and sort of the lip syncing of the actual soundtrack to the characters, but I think for the most part a massive improvement over the Web of Fear episode 3. But yeah, Celestial Toy Maker Steelbook. To Doctor Who magazine. Now I'm going to be showing you the special edition magazine because I think they're the interesting ones to show. I did pick up a special edition from yesteryear, which we'll see in a minute, but the first special edition I'm going to show, which is the most recent one, which is The Missing Doctor Who. That cover art, that really screams Photoshop is my passion and is my dream. Yeah, this cover just feels very sort of 2009. So yeah, it makes me feel quite nostalgic for when David Tennant was the Doctor. But this is quite an interesting magazine because it's not only about the missing episodes. It's got obviously the results of like the most wanted missing episode, but it sort of talks about sort of variations in Doctor Who episodes with sort of length of like different episodes, like the Delaware theme and sort of Inferno, sort of prime cuts I think they called it. Yeah, there we go. And it's got a sort of little history on the 10th Doctor Lost Story, the Suicide Museum, which is a nice little read, and hopefully Big Finish can adapt that, because that would be a great one to see the new series get a Lost Story treatment on Big Finish. But yeah, very nice, and that's talking about the telesnaps and sort of deleted media about like the TARDIS cam sort of stuff. So yeah, very cool little magazine really, not just about missing episodes but sort of lost media in general. The next magazine is the 4th Doctor 50 years, celebrating 50 years of Tom Baker's Doctor Who, which is a really lovely little issue looking at his sort of character, the sort of guide to what's in the 4th Doctor's pocket, which is just a nice little feature, and sort of talking about sort of various stories that fit in from expanded media, from the annuals, Virgin Missing Adventures and comics, and sort of the 4th Doctor costume variants. It's just a nice little issue celebrating 50 years of our beloved 4th Doctor, Tom Baker. Next up we have Doctor Who Print the Legend, which is all about the Doctor Who Target books. And I think if you own the sort of Telos book about the Target books, then you kind of know what to expect. It's sort of a rundown of the various sort of covers and the books that feature for that Doctor, which is a nice little feature. It does cover some of the new series books, which is great to see those included. But yeah, it's a nice magazine. But I think, like I say, if you've got the Telos book, then you sort of know what to expect with this magazine, really. But yeah, still a nice little thing to have, really. If I can get to the new series books, there you go. You can see the Rose book and some of the new editions there, and various other new series books that came along. But what made this magazine even more worth picking up is it come with a free gift, a free audiobook, a bit of a blind bag situation because you didn't know what CD you were going to pick up. I got The Crawling Terror, the 12th Doctor Series 8 novel. Yeah, you could have got a Target reading, but I got one of the new series ones. I've read this book, but yeah, it's nice to have the audiobook version read by Neve McIntosh. And the final Doctor Who magazine I'm going to show, which is one of the sort of essential magazines, and it is the Story So Far. Now, I love these sort of essential Doctor Who magazines because I went through the ones I had, and I just flicked through them going, God, they're really nice. And I remembered I didn't have this one. And this is a nice little time capsule because this is literally before Series 11 aired. So it's got a little interview about Chris Chibnall and Jodie Whittaker. And it's just covering the various Doctors and sort of, I guess, sort of a beginner's guide to that Doctor, or each Doctor, with like stories to watch. But yeah, it's a really nice little bio on sort of each actor who've played the Doctor. Got some nice little interviews about sort of various monsters. But yeah, it's a really nice little magazine. Sort of talking about various books as well, because I think that's the thing with these special editions, they cover all manner of stuff like Big Finish. Yeah, really nice little inclusion to get, and I'm glad to add this to my magazine collection. Continuing the Doctor Who magazine theme ever so slightly, we have the Doctor Who magazine comic strip graphic novel collection by Panini Comics. This is something I've been sort of collecting since 2020, and I've decided this year I'm going to try and complete the ones that I'm missing. And I went to Film Planet and they had a sale on sort of the Panini graphic novels where it was sort of 3 for 2. So when you see a sale like that, you're going to pick up a few. So I picked up Evening's Empire, which is the last 7th Doctor graphic novel I needed to complete for the 7th Doctor. Yeah, very 90s with the artwork sort of unit, and yeah, the artwork's very nice. Yeah, very interesting sort of art style, that you've got sort of this hyper realistic, and then it sort of goes back to sort of your traditional sort of comic art style, I guess. So yeah, it's very interesting because the 7th Doctor comics have got quite an interesting sort of art style throughout. But yeah, very nice to have that, and it's got a nice little commentary on that, and it contained these stories. The other two I picked up were this one, which is The Blood of Azrael, which I believe is the last 11th Doctor one. It's a fairly chunky one. But yeah, I remember seeing these back in 2013 in Doctor Who magazine. It's just great to have them all collected in one place, and yeah, I just get sort of nostalgia reminding me back to sort of the anniversary year and seeing all these. So yeah, really nice to have that to complete sort of the 11th Doctor's comic run, which is very cool. And then the final one I picked up in that offer, which is a 12th Doctor one, which is the Highgate Horror. And you can see Clara's got Joe Grant's Three Doctors outfit. So yeah, very nice to have this. I think this is the first 12th Doctor graphic novel collection I've got, because like I say, I'm trying to complete it, and it's even got Danny Pink in there. How very interesting. So yeah, very cool. Be interesting to sort of marathon this whole series, sort of go through each Doctor. That'll be a nice little plan to go through. But yeah, very nice to have that. So those are the ones I picked up from FP. The graphic novels don't stop there. I also picked up one of the ones I was after the most, which is The Age of Chaos, which is quite a hard to get one now actually. I looked at Amazon US to try and import it, but Panini magically had them back in stock, and now it sold out pretty instantly. So this is quite interesting because it's Colin Baker writing a WM comic strip, so that's really nice with Frobisher. So that's really cool, and it's interesting that we've got quite a cool Dalek story in the form of Metamorphosis. Within this one you've got Last Word, and what's interesting, the last comic strip within this one, if I can get to it, is somewhat of a multi-Doctor one, because you've got the 4th Doctor and 3rd Doctor fighting Sea Devils. If I can find the page, there you go, you can see some Sea Devil action there. So yeah, this one I'm definitely interested to start reading, because, you know, 3rd Doctor, Sea Devils, my favourite story, my favourite Doctor. So it'd be very interesting to give that one a read. You can see there are other Doctors there, with the 7th Doctor included as well. So Age of Chaos, brilliant. We have another 11th Doctor comic I picked up, which is The Hunters of the Burning Stone, which is Doctor Who magazine's 50th anniversary sort of celebration. And obviously we sadly lost William Russell a couple months ago, and I thought it'd be great to have sort of Ian Cheston and Barbara and the 11th Doctor back in action again, and this was a really brilliant comic. I really enjoyed this one. But yeah, the artwork's incredibly brilliant, and just sort of the celebration of sort of the various sort of villains from the Doctor's sort of past, and how it links to the Unearthly Child is brilliant, and sort of Ian and Barbara sort of learning about what the Doctor's got up to. It's sort of a celebration of Doctor Who comics, of sort of the Flood and sort of, you know, various other things, and it's got some great sort of big art pages, if I can just find the right things there, sort of tumbling through sort of the Doctor's sort of time stream there, and some of the various sort of Doctors adventures there, which is all very neat and cool. The graphic novel I picked up is one I vividly remember reading, and it was one I was like, I need to get this one, because it is the 12th Doctor versus the Delgado Master in The Doorway to Hell, and this is sort of the origin of the Crispy Master, and I think 12 and Delgado work brilliantly as one of the brilliant 12th Doctor moments when, you know, Delgado's Master realises, shoot, this isn't the Doctor I know, he's a completely different Doctor and a bit more of a savage. But yeah, really, really good comic there, and yeah, really good one to have in the collection really. 12th Doctor versus the Delgado Master. And the final graphic novel I picked up, which is the most recent sort of collected in the series, which is Return of the Daleks. Now this is an interesting graphic novel because it is sort of the B-side comics, sort of the backup issue, so sort of the comics that weren't part of sort of the main comic strip, so these are sort of little fun little comics what featured in some of the original Doctor Who weeklies. So yeah, really nice to have that, and a nice little collection of stories, with Return of the Daleks sort of being the one, and then K9's Finest Hour. We've got Ogrons, Silurians within it, Ice Warriors. We've got Deathworld. See, Doctor Who magazine can release Deathworld, Big Finish can't. But yeah, really cool, Absolute Dark. So yeah, really cool to have this sort of collected backup strips of Doctor Who magazine. From graphic novels to books, so the first book I picked up was part of the Decade collection, which is The Cradle, which is a 12th Doctor and Clara book. This is the 1970s one. I love how these Decades books are sort of presented, with a sort of nice sort of canvas sort of cover and a nice sort of silver foil finish to them. They look very nice and premium. But yeah, I don't know too much about this story. I've only picked up another 2, so I need to get another 3 to complete this collection, because this was part of the 60th anniversary sort of celebration. Instead of having sort of reprints, we got some nice original fiction, which is all very cool. The next book I'm going to show is the one I'm currently reading and I am absolutely loving, and it is Doctor Who in Wonderland. Now this has sort of been a trend, I think, since 2021, where sort of the Puffin sort of take a classic literature story and put a Doctor Who spin on it. As you can see, this is Doctor Who entering Lewis Carroll's world of Alice in Wonderland. So it is the 5th Doctor, Tegan, Nyssa and Turlough, and this is set a week after Mordred Undead, so Turlough's still adjusting to life in the TARDIS, and the characterisation of our main TARDIS crew is superb, and you can just hear the TARDIS crew within this. They've got their own distinct voices. We've sort of got Nyssa and Turlough doing their own little thing, and you have Tegan and the 5th Doctor sort of on their own little mission as well. It's very cool, very creative, a lot of fun. It's a love letter to Alice in Wonderland, and it's just a great way of experiencing a classic story, but with a Doctor Who twist on it. And I think it's only 200 pages, so it's a fairly quick read, and I'm absolutely loving it from what I read so far. So since reading that, I thought, you know what, I'm going to pick up some of the ones I'm missing from that collection. So we have Doctor Who, Legends of Camelot. I think this is the first one that was released, which is sort of the 10th Doctor and Donna, sort of in the sort of Arthurian legend, so that'd be quite a cool one to read. And then the other one I picked up from that collection is Doctor Who Rebellion on Treasure Island, which is the 11th Doctor and Clara, because there's not really that much expanded media in terms of stories with 11 and Clara, so you know, more of that's great. The villain in this fits Series 7 very well, I'll say that. Yeah, nice little surprise, some nice little fun cameos within that. I may do a video sort of dedicated to sort of the this collection of books. So I do have the another 2, which is the Josephine and the Argonauts and Robin Hood with the 4th Doctor. Then the final 2 books I'm going to show are from our most recent Doctor and our most recent series, which is Doctor Who Caged, which is the second Ncuti Gatwa book. I should have done this the other way around. But this is an interesting book, as it's got a sort of an idea of sort of aliens being abducted. Does it still class as an abduction if it's alien? So it's got an interesting premise. It really captures sort of Ruby's voice within it, because she's sort of obsessed with these sort of guinea pig people. So yeah, that's a really nice little cool thing within it by Una McCormack. Quite a slim book. You can see the format's changed from the traditional new series book. It's in sort of a dust jacket. I'll put a photo of the other new series Doctor books next to the Shooty Catwell one, so you can sort of see the new series Doctor's debut books alongside sort of how the format's changed. So that's Caged, and then we have the first Shooty Catwell book, which I should have shown first, which is Ruby Red by Georgia Cook. I've not read this one yet, so I don't know too much about it, but I probably will do a review on both of these books, and then when the third one comes out I will review that as well. But yeah, quite short books, I think, again 200 pages, so it won't take long to read those. But yeah, nice little fun thing to see the new series Doctor books come back, because I loved those as a kid. I have such vivid memories of reading the David Tennant ones and the Matt Smith ones, so it's great to see that tradition brought back with Shooty, and hopefully he gets more than 3 books. Unlike poor Jodie only got 3 books, so hopefully Shooty can get a couple more extra books. Big Finish, yes, poor Big Finish have been through a lot with this new website and the app not working. But you know what, it's made me very grateful that I am a CD collector, and it just shows that physical media still has a place in our modern day, because, you know, I can still enjoy the stories I've bought on CD. So yeah, I'm very grateful that I, you know, have these CDs, because, you know, with all the situation with the website, it's all a bit rubbish really. So yeah, let's kick off with Dark Gallifrey, which is Morbius Part 2 and 3. I really enjoyed Morbius. I thought it was a great little sort of spin on sort of Morbius as a character. I think Part 2's the weakest. Part 3 is very good because, you know, the Fourth Doctor sort of takes front and centre, and I'm very excited to see what Tim Foley does with Morbius versus the War Doctor, if that comes out in August, because, you know, who knows with this new website really. Continuing Dark Gallifrey, we had David Warner's final appearance as the Unbound Doctor, and what a fun story this is. Nice little experimental one, with it being told backwards, and it works wonderfully how it sort of connects back to the start. So this is the sort of the Warmaster sort of trilogy. No Warmaster in it. Did a review on, you know, Morbius and Dark Gallifrey Warmaster, so you can check out that. But yeah, it's a great sort of celebration of this TARDIS crew, because I love David Warner's Doctor, and it was a nice little bonus sort of to say goodbye to him this way, because I think this is a fitting end for the Unbound Doctor compared to Time Lord Immemorial. But yeah, really fun story. Then we have the 8th Doctor box set, which is Echoes. An okay box set. I think Birdsong by Tim Foley is my favourite. Then the other 2 stories, they're okay. I think me and Luke have done a video on sort of why the 8th Doctor should have an arc. Again, because you know, it's nice having standalone stories, but I think that it'd be great to sort of have a direction for the 8th Doctor to go forward. Because I will say I'm more invested in the Charlie and Lady Montague Audacity storyline compared to the Liv and Helen stuff. Then we have the final 9th Doctor box set, which is Star-Crossed Series 3 coming to a close, and possibly the end of the 9th Doctor on Big Finish. For now, hopefully Christopher Eccleston will do more for 9th Doctor and River Song. I've only listened to the first story in this, which is Swipe Right by John Dorney, and it was pretty good. But yeah, other Big Finish came out, what took my interest over this, and I think I'm going to savour this one because, you know, Eccleston was my first Doctor. So yeah, I'm going to savour that Eccleston content really. Then we have a Torchwood release, which I did a review, which is Art Decadence, which is the Mara in Torchwood. I love it when sort of Torchwood takes a Doctor Who villain and sort of makes it more adult, and we get to see the true horror of it. And I think this one is a really good one. It's a nice sort of fun setup of Torchwood in the 1920s. Again, if you want to know my full thoughts, check out my review on that release. And then we have a release which was quite disappointing, and it is The Last Day Part 2. Did a review on this one, and yeah, it's quite an underwhelming thing. Me and Luke have got a spoiler chat video talking about sort of our main issues with this, more in depth, coming out very soon, and why it's not really the 7th Doctor's last day, because that's just a bit of an afterthought really, and the 7th Doctor's barely in it. But yeah, check out our review on the 7th Doctor Last Day, spoiler free, and there will be a spoiler chat coming very soon. But yeah, that's that out of the way. And then we have a 4th Doctor release, which is Metamorphosis, where we see the 4th Doctor battle of the Toy Maker, not as we know it. and the Crispy Master and some crazy wombats. Me and Luke have done a review on this one, and yeah, the Toy Maker story is probably the standout of the set. And then I picked up a throwback release. I think it was on sale for like £2.50, and I didn't have it. I had it on the Steelbook release, but I thought I'd get the Big Finish version, which is Sharda. Yes, I own another version of Sharda. But yeah, it'd be interesting to see how McGann fits within it, because I had the webcast version on the Sharda Steelbook. But yeah, it'd be great to have the full version, and obviously it completes the sort of bonus special releases that I was missing from that range. The next Big Finish is some Second Doctor goodness, which is Conspiracy of Raven, which I think is a bit of a hot take, probably the weakest in the Beyond Wargame saga. This box set very much feels like setup for Volume 4, which, you know, very interesting cliffhanger, and I'm excited to see where we go next. But I think Kippers is probably my favourite one, very much like the Mind Robber Part 1, so if you like that, you'll probably enjoy Kippers. But yeah, an interesting box set, but like I say, it's very much setting up the pieces for Volume 4. Then we have one of the big releases for July, which is Goth Opera. Now this is going to become quite an oddity, this Big Finish release. Me and Luke have just done a review on this, and like I say, all the Big Finish featured here. I think bar Sharda we've done a review on, so you can check out that in our Big Finish review playlist. But this CD is going to be quite a nice little oddity, because this is the original version of Goth Opera, which has some little errors in there where the TARDIS door sounds for the bedroom. So sort of, you know, when they leave the TARDIS, normally you have the little sound effects, but this has happened on like the TARDIS bedroom. And then you'll have the opening theme for the closing theme, which worked really well for Part 1. So this is a nice little oddity to have sort of this version of Goth Opera, because I believe the downloads changed now to the new edit, and they are repressing Goth Opera to have the new edit. So this is going to be a nice little Big Finish oddity, as it were, and I love Goth Opera. I read the book, and I think that this is a faithful adaptation. If you want to know my full thoughts on this, and check out the review on that. Then we have the most recent Big Finish story to be released, which is a Lost Story, Operation Werewolf, which is 8.2. Still waiting for Death World, the one I'm really looking forward to. But this is obviously written by Douglas Camfield. Well, a storyline by Douglas Camfield, who is very much an action director, directs action brilliantly. But listening to this, I should say, it feels quite static. It will probably be the next Big Finish review that's out on the channel. But yeah, I think that it's a good solid story. I think I prefer it to Conspiracy of Raven. But yeah, nice little fun little war story. But yeah, very fitting of Season 6B. So that is the Big Finish. My Doctor Who collection update for July 2024. Plenty of Doctor Who merchandise, plenty of Big Finish, plenty of books and graphic novels. So if you enjoyed this video, then please do like, subscribe for plenty more Doctor Who related content coming up in the near future, from reviews, news videos, you name it, this channel does cover it. So thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.